Imagine this scenario, maybe late at night. You're home, things are quiet, and suddenly your phone rings. Unknown number. Maybe you ignore it, maybe you answer, maybe it goes to voicemail. But what you hear, well, it's definitely not a wrong number, it's something else.
Something unsettling.
Exactly. A sound, maybe a voice, something that just crawls under your skin and doesn't really leave.
Yeah.
So today we're diving into this really chilling thing that's been surfacing more and more online, particularly on Reddit's Bureau of Investigation, the OBI subreddit.
Right, the OBI.
Yeah.
They're known for that kind of crowdsourced detective work.
Totally. They piece things together amazingly well. But over the last year or so, there's been this increase in reports, people getting these, deeply disturbing phone calls.
Oh, that don't make any sense.
None at all. And they leave people genuinely scared. So our mission today, really, is to try and pull back the curtain on these incidents. We'll look at some of the firsthand accounts that really grabbed the OBI community's attention, try to see if there's a pattern in the terrifying details.
And then maybe figure out what's actually going on.
That's the goal. For the first time for a lot of you listening, we're going to try and uncover the unsettling truth behind who's making these calls and why.
Okay, but before we jump right into the cases, I think it's important to just put out a content warning here.
Good point.
Some of the details we're about to share are, they're genuinely upsetting. They touch on some pretty primal fears. So if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, maybe adjust your volume or just, brace yourself a little.
Definitely a needed warning.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a journey into the darker side of how connected we all are now.
It really is.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. We should probably start with those initial accounts, the ones that first started getting attention on Reddit. Each one felt like its own little mystery, but together they built this real sense of unease.
Right. Where do we begin?
Let's start with this one. A user posted about their girlfriend. She got 5 calls, boom, 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 from an unknown local number.
5 in a row.
Yeah, quick succession. They eventually left a voicemail, and this is where it gets really weird. The girlfriend called the number back, but she didn't say anything, just listened.
Okay.
And she heard. Well, first, just breathing, then this kind of low male laugh, and then he says, "Hello."
Creepy.
But then right after that, this horrifying sound of a woman screaming. And then just like that, the call cut off.
Yeah.
Dead air.
Wow.
And every time they tried calling back after that, straight to voicemail. Every single time.
So did they call the police?
They did, yeah. Contacted the local PD. The police actually offered to trace the call, and they even sent a patrol car to swing by the neighborhood that night just to check things out.
But could they trace it?
Yeah.
Or find anything?
Apparently not much. Beyond those initial steps, there wasn't really any other information they could give them, so it just left everyone hanging, The victims, the people on Reddit. Exactly. Was it just some incredibly sick prank, a really dark joke gone way too far? Or was someone actually in danger? And that not knowing, that was maybe the worst part.
That uncertainty can be paralyzing.
Totally. And it wasn't just that one incident. Each new report just added another weird layer. This next one, it was really perplexing. A user said their partner got a new phone.
Okay.
And somehow there was old data on it, including some missed voicemails from whoever owned it before. One specific voicemail stood out. Unknown number, Phoenix, Arizona area code. The date was June 9th, 2017.
Huh. From years ago then.
Right. And this user, they got this really bad feeling about it. So they spent a whole day just digging, researching news, incidents, anything happening in Phoenix on that specific date.
Trying to connect it to something real.
Yeah, exactly. But they hit a total wall. Couldn't find any connection, no explanation, asked family, friends, and nobody recognized the number. It was just this digital ghost message.
And that's the kind of thing the Reddit investigators love, right?
Right.
But what happened?
Well, like you said, they jumped on it. Started analyzing the recordings second by second, looking for clues. But nothing. No updates ever posted. It just remained this unresolved mystery, which honestly almost makes it worse.
It does. That lack of closure, it lets your imagination run wild, often to much scarier places than reality.
Yeah.
It's as disturbing as the call itself sometimes.
It really is that void, that lack of answers that just ramps up the fear, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Which leads us to a third one, just as chilling. This time, the calls were from a private number.
Ah, the dreaded private number.
Right. A user got 2 calls, both super late, like 1 or 2 a.m. And they were short, maybe 10 seconds each.
Okay, what was on them?
First call they answered, heard what sounded unmistakably like a woman running. and crying, like desperate, ragged crying.
Oh, man.
So the person obviously freaked out, just hung up immediately. But then the phone rings again. Same private number.
And the second call.
This time, the woman's voice was clearer, distraught, breathless, and she just says 2 words, "He's coming."
Wow. Okay, that is terrifying.
You could feel the panic in the user's post. They were basically begging, like, please tell me this is just a scam or a prank. I'm totally freaking out.
And how did the Reddit community react to that one? Because that sounds potentially very real.
Well, interestingly, for that specific case, the immediate reaction from a lot of people was actually to call it a prank.
Really? Why?
It's hard to say for sure, but maybe it was kind of a defense mechanism, like a collective way to cope, because thinking it might be real, that someone was actually in danger and they just heard it, that's almost too much to handle, you know?
Yeah, I can see that, rationalizing it away because the alternative is just too dark.
Exactly. And then finally, we get to maybe the most common type of report on OBI, and also maybe the most baffling, just this relentless flood of unknown calls.
Like multiple calls.
Oh, yeah. One user reported getting 17 calls in one day, all from a number with no caller ID.
17. That's insane persistence. Did they answer any?
They answered 3 of them, and each time it was just bizarre. Call 1, about 5-10 seconds of just wind noise, or maybe static. Call 2, they pick up, hear what sounds like a man and a woman talking faintly in the background, but couldn't make out words.
And the third, the source mentioned a picture of call times too, right?
Yeah, the timing was weird, like all between 12:30 a.m. and 5 a.m. The sheer persistence was unnerving. The calls kept coming even after they turned on Do Not Disturb on their iPhone, set to only let contacts through.
Wait, the call still came through D&D. How?
Apparently. A call still popped up on the screen minutes after enabling it, and then another one about 40 minutes later. They even got a failed call notification at one point.
A failed call. What does that even mean in this context?
The user guessed maybe it meant the caller was somewhere with a real weak signal, but even they admitted, calling 17 times between basically midnight and 5 a.m. seems a bit much for a prank.
Yeah, that's not a prank. That's harassment or something entirely.
Right. They were just bewildered, asking, what could someone possibly want with me? And that question just echoed across all these different reports.
So for weeks, maybe months, people are sharing these stories, trying to find answers, hitting dead ends.
Exactly. Every case felt separate, like just random digital weirdness. People were picking apart audio, looking for any tiny thread, and then they found one.
Ah, okay. This is where it starts to connect.
This is where it gets really interesting, because the Reddit community, being as persistent as they are, they started to link these incidents that seemed totally unrelated. They started seeing a potential pattern, hinting at something bigger, and frankly, darker.
Okay, so what was the breakthrough? What was the connection?
It came down to analyzing the audio very, very closely. Remember that call with the woman screaming?
Yeah, the one after the man laughed.
No, actually, there was another common report involving the sound of a child screaming. Really upsetting stuff.
Oh, right. Okay. And that specific sound, it turned out not to be a live event. It was identified, forensically identified, actually.
Identified as what?
It was an audio clip, looped from an advertisement in Greece.
An ad from Greece. That's incredibly specific.
Exactly. And that tiny, seemingly random detail was the key. It unlocked the whole thing. It turned these random, scary calls into a recognizable, chilling pattern.
So what pattern did that point to? Where did that lead?
It led straight to something called the virtual kidnapping scam.
Virtual kidnapping. Okay, I've heard of that. There was a Guardian article, wasn't there, about a woman in L.A.
That's a classic, horrifying example. This woman gets a call. Here's a young girl screaming, crying, "Mommy, please help me. Someone grabbed me in a minivan. I don't know where I am."
Oh my God, just hearing that.
Right. And then, almost instantly, a man gets on the line, demands she go withdraw money, transferred it to his account right now.
And threatens her.
Explicitly. Tells her he'll know if she calls anyone. Says if she doesn't pay, he'll kill her daughter.
But her daughter wasn't actually kidnapped.
No, her daughter was perfectly safe at home. I think she just left her there. But the mother, in that moment, she had a full-blown panic attack. She was absolutely convinced it was real.
Did she pay them?
Sadly, yes. In her panic, she sent them over $3,000. It's just a brutal exploitation of fear.
It's weaponizing parental instinct.
Precisely. It's not just triggering fear. It's creating this cognitive overload. Research shows that under extreme stress, Especially with time pressure, our critical thinking just plummets.
Right, you can't think straight.
Exactly. These scammers know that. They use the screaming, the crying, these intense distress sounds to push people into panic mode, hoping for immediate compliance before they have a chance to think or verify.
And the ransom demands are often smaller, right? Not millions.
Yeah, often smaller amounts, which makes it seem maybe more plausible for a quick payment. And the key goal is always keep the person on the line. Keep the pressure high, don't let them hang up, don't let them think.
Okay, so that explains the calls with screaming or distress, but what about the ones with just static? Or the 17 calls with nothing? That doesn't sound like virtual kidnapping.
No, that points to the second type of scam, often intertwined with this. It's less direct, but just as insidious. There was a great podcast episode on this from Reply All.
Oh, yeah. What did they find?
Well, they tackle this really weird question. How could playing, like spooky sounds or just static over the phone, actually make someone money? Especially if they're calling, say, a 1-800 number.
Right, because the caller doesn't pay for 1-800 calls. The company receiving the call pays.
Exactly. That's the key. Toll-free numbers, invented back in the 60s, are this reverse payment system. The company pays their phone provider for the call.
Okay.
But here's the part most people don't know. When that company pays, let's say, $1 to their big phone company, that dollar doesn't just stay there. It gets shared down the line with every other phone company, every little carrier or hop that helped connect that call.
So like smaller phone companies get a piece of the pie.
Exactly. Each hop might get maybe 10 cents or whatever their agreement is. It's called interconnect fees or termination fees.
Okay, I think I see where this is going.
Right. So the scammer has this, frankly, kind of brilliant but totally shady idea. They partner up with one of these smaller, often less than reputable telecom companies, sometimes called Crazy IDs phone services or something similar.
Companies that maybe specialize in routing calls obscurely.
Pretty much. They might be smaller, less regulated carriers that are good at hiding where calls really come from. Then the scammer uses this partner company to just blast out a massive number of calls to 1-800 numbers. Tons of them.
Okay.
And the crucial part is this. The more calls they place, and the longer those calls stay connected.
Even if it's just static.
Even if it's just static or wind noise or faint talking, the longer the line is open, the more money the scammer and their shady telecom partner can siphon off from the companies paying for those 1-800 lines through those shared revenue fees.
So they're literally profiting from just tying up phone lines.
Yeah.
Billions of seconds adding up to real money.
Billions of seconds, potentially millions of calls. Yes, they generate revenue just by keeping the connection alive.
Wow. Okay, so let's connect this back then. We have the virtual kidnapping, preying on fear for extortion, and we have this toll-free fraud preying on the phone system itself for revenue. How do these fit the Reddit cases we started with?
Well, they fit perfectly, actually. Think back. The case with the girlfriend hearing the screaming woman.
Yeah.
Textbook virtual kidnapping attempt, even if the audio was pre-recorded, like that Greek ad example, the goal was pure terror and panic, hoping for compliance.
Okay, that makes sense. And the barrage of 17 calls, the static, the faint talking.
That lines up exactly with the toll-free number fraud. They weren't trying to talk to the person. They likely weren't even targeting that specific person intentionally, maybe just cycling through numbers. The goal was just to keep the line open, make that connection last, generate those little micropayments from each hop in the network.
So two different methods, but both ultimately about making money by getting some kind of reaction, either panic or just keeping the line open.
Exactly. Whether it's exploiting your fear to get you to send money directly or exploiting the phone system's billing structure by keeping you listening to noise, the end goal is financial gain through manipulation.
It's genuinely chilling to think these aren't just, random creepy pranks from someone bored. They're calculated, often sophisticated scams.
Sometimes run by organized groups, potentially internationally.
Right. Designed specifically to exploit our emotions, our desire to help, or even just the basic infrastructure we rely on. So the big takeaway here, based on everything these investigations uncovered, seems pretty clear for anyone listening.
Yeah, the advice is straightforward.
If you get a call like this weird sounds, someone screaming, a voice claiming someone's hurt, or just a relentless flood of unknown calls, the absolute best thing to do.
Hang up.
Hang up immediately. Don't talk, don't engage, don't try to call back, just end the call.
And maybe just as importantly, consider reporting it. This raises a question for you listening. Even though most of these are fake scams, right? It's still really valuable to report them to the police or relevant authorities like the FTC or Ofcom, depending on where you are.
Why is reporting still important if they're likely fake?
because these scams are constantly evolving, and they are definitely on the rise globally. Every report, even if it feels small, adds to a bigger picture. It helps authorities track the patterns, identify the sources, maybe even shut down the operations behind them. Your report matters.
That's a really crucial point. It contributes to the data that might actually lead to stopping them.
Exactly.
And, thinking about all this, how these scams manipulate our most basic instincts, fear, empathy, that urge to protect, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
About what specifically?
Well, about our world now, this hyper-connected world where anonymity can shield people doing this stuff. It raises bigger questions. Are our systems, our communication networks really built to handle this kind of psychological manipulation effectively? Or are we always going to be playing catch-up?
That's the unsettling question, isn't it? How do we safeguard ourselves, not just individually by hanging up, but collectively, against these threats that seem to be getting smarter and more pervasive?
Yeah. It's definitely something to mull over as you go about your day. A reminder, maybe, of the unseen stuff happening just beneath the surface of our digital lives.
Stay vigilant.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this rather unsettling deep dive today. Stay safe out there, everyone. Stay informed.
Take care.
And we'll be back soon with another exploration.